Good evening, gentlemen. We've got a great night in store for you. I see a lot of new faces out there, as well as some familiar ones, so I'm not gonna yammer on too long. I want you all to sit back, enjoy the service, the scenery, but most of all, enjoy the show.
Yet they're not here to fight our battles, but to whisper from our heart, reminding that it's us. It's every one of us who holds the power over the worlds we create.
Step in!
It's hard work for people to constantly deny what they are, to pretend that they're not the avatars of divine beings, Brahman, Atman, and Shiva, that the cells of their bodies aren't millions of gods, that the dust isn't a haze of jewels.
Few people cried. Most people were silent.
You are the man who gave them the power to destroy themselves.
When you step through the doors that psychedelics offer, you are going to be required to draw on every resource that you have as a human being. And amongst those resources, most prominently is courage. You must overcome your fear.
Under proper psychedelic guidance, I'm saying healing is actually possible.
For my whole life, I didn't know if I even really existed. But I do.
Every time you victimize someone, you were victimizing yourself. Every act of kindness you've done to yourself. Every happy and sad moment ever experienced by any human was, or will be, experienced by you. This time around, you'll be a Chinese peasant girl in 540 AD. Yes. Because someday you will become like me. You're my child. You're a fetus. You're still growing. Once you've lived every human life throughout all time, you will have grown enough to be born.
It is they who serve the world.
Your life isn't going to be what you thought.
That's what I'll give you to decide your fate.
The core strategy of the war on drugs is no drugs, no problems. So almost all of the efforts in the last few decades have been focused on eradicating the supply of drugs and incarcerating drug traffickers. But this ignores the most fundamental of market forces, supply and demand. If you reduce the supply of anything without reducing the demand first, its price goes up. This might lower sales for many products, but not for drugs. The drugs market is not price sensitive. Drugs will be consumed no matter what they cost. So the effect is to encourage production of more drugs and recruitment of more traffickers, which increases availability.
Now I see the funny side.
We fund studies on harm, we don't fund studies on benefit. It gives a distorted picture.
So then they find out drugs that are prohibited actually work much better than the pharmaceutical drugs.
I was diagnosed to have terminal cancer. It has allowed me to open up and have communication with my family that I have never been able to have before.
But because of government regulations, we're denying major aspects of our population access to medicines that they dearly need.
There isn't any arc bending toward justice. There's no force that's lifting us ever upward. Quite the contrary. The universe often seems to be out to get us. There are parasites that want to eat us from the inside. There's the laws of entropy. There are more ways for things to go wrong than to go right.
Through early 70s, they gave a giant dose of LSD to someone and then locked them in a padded room. One of the trials, looking to see if LSD could help people with alcoholism, they literally tied people down in restraints to their hospital bed, gave them a massive dose of LSD, 800 micrograms, and they didn't give them any warning that, that they took this substance that would profoundly alter their conscious experience.
I have been discussing the role of a certain person called the Joker. The Joker being the one who has insight into the fact that all our social institutions are games.
The whole universe, all its forms, all the forms of biology, all the different species, the giraffe, the rhinoceroses, the baboons, the roses, the eucalyptus trees, etc., everything. It's a dancing thing going on, different styles. And we wouldn't want to say to any of those things, you shouldn't have them. Because they are all the great Maya, the great illusion, the great play.
Like me? Are you strange like me? Lighting matches just to swallow up the flame like me? Do you call yourself a fucking hurricane like me? Pointing fingers cause you never take the blame like me. Say you can't wake up, this is not a dream. You're part of a machine, you are not a human being. Is your face so lit up, moving on to slow self-esteem, so you run on gasoline. I think there's a flaw in my code. These voices won't leave me alone. My last is cold and my hands
of the fire and the flames. You're the face of the future, the blood in my veins. Oh, ooh, the blood in my veins. Oh, but they never did, ever lived, ebbing and flowing, inhibited, limited, till it broke up when it rained down. It rained down like.
I'm the first to admit when I make a mistake. And let me tell you that I simply never do. And meeting you, it was the best decision.
Steve Pinker. I am a professor of psychology at Harvard University. My most recent book is called Rationality: What It Is, Why It Seems Scarce, Why It Matters. There is a capacity in us to become collectively more rational.
The government does not allow this research to take place, and then they say, well, there's no research that shows it. It's beyond hypocrisy.
It's not that they don't want you to be on drugs. They want you to be on drugs. They just want you to be on corporate drugs.
This morning, the Drug Enforcement Administration is announcing its intention to place the drug MDMA under emergency controls in Schedule 1.
He was very eager for me to take LSD, but I resisted the idea. Everything I had heard about lysergic acid sounded ominous. The mushrooms and peyote I had been experimenting with had grown naturally in the ground and been used for thousands of years in wise Indian cultures. LSD, on the other hand, was a laboratory product that had quickly fallen into the hands of psychiatrists and security services. I was scared. It was obvious that the more powerful LSD swept you far beyond the tender wisdom of mushrooms or cacti.
Now, a lot of people seem to be a little bit uncomfortable with this. They're wondering, isn't there something more about me? Am I not a little bit more than just those fundamental particles? Where's my consciousness come from? Whatever happened to my soul?
Now relax. And just let go.
The people just are crazy. What are they doing? You don't listen, do you? I don't think you ever really hear me. All I have are negative thoughts, but you don't listen anyway. I said, for my whole life, I didn't know if I even really existed. But I do. And people are starting to notice.
Hey, what's your name? Comedy is subjective, Murray. Isn't that what they say? All of you, the system that knows so much, you decide what's right or wrong.
You really are. You're just a freak. Like me.
Isn't it beautiful? You know what really makes me laugh? I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a fucking comedy.
Up, Arthur, and a liar. You're fired.
Send in the clown.
Okay, I'm waiting for the punchline.
There is no punchline. I got nothing left to lose. Nothing can hurt me anymore. My life is nothing but a comedy.
I see the light shining up above me where the darkness was. The freaky lights shining all around me 'cause you, I'm with you, you with me on this dance floor, girl. And we're getting down, and the freaky lights, they're all over me. We're gonna dance to this music now. I see the lights shining up above me where the darkness was. Yeah, yeah. The freak with
I have been discussing the role of a certain person called the Joker. The Joker being the one who has insight into the fact that all our social institutions are games. The first rule being this game is serious, or this game is not a game. And therefore there is a tendency within society to resist very strongly any notion that what it is doing is not altogether serious.
Because if you take it too seriously, you're going to start destroying each other and fighting and saying this city against that city, this country against that country, so on. Because you're too involved. So every sane society allows a certain number of people to deviate. Everybody must join. Everybody must work.
Knock, 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 knock. Who's there?
Knock, knock, who's there? It's me!
What he is doing then is he is in a point of view where he sees all that is going on as a game. He doesn't take anything seriously. But don't forget that that doesn't mean that he is simply shallow and frivolous. Thing that we have to understand, really, is that all the roles are the Joker.
Strange like me, are you strange like me? Lighting matches just to swallow up the flame like me. Do you call yourself a fucking hurricane like me? Pointing fingers cause you never take the blame like me.
But they never did, ever lived, ebbing and flowing, inhibited, limited, till it broke up when it rained down. It rained down like...
That is disappointing.
My heart is cold and my hands are cold.
Like what they say. Y'all could go insane.
One day, old man. Next day, little girl. But don't let appearances fool you. They can be as fierce as any dragon. Yet they're not here to fight our battles, but to whisper from our heart.
And just let go.
Reminding that it's us. It's every one of us who holds the power over the worlds we create.
Let the pain go. What you're imagining right now, that world you control, that place can be as real as any pain.
Everyone has a choice. And every choice has a consequence.
I'm bigger than my body.
We didn't defeat the Dark One. We set him free.
I'm meaner than my demons.
No one should have that much power.
I'm bigger than these
The last battle's coming.
The whole world will be ours.
If our friends are in trouble, why would they ever stay here?
You have no conception of the power they wield.
You can't do this by yourself.
It's not always the most powerful who write history. It's the ones who survive.
I'm tired of being a spoke in the wheel.
You're not a spoke boy.
You are the water that turns the wheel itself.